Kansho.
Good morning. Today is November 6, 2022. Welcome to New York Buddhist Church's special Sunday service, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Today is November Shotsuki Hoyo, our BWA memorial service, and Eshinni-ko and Kakushinni-ko memorial service. We will begin today with quiet sitting. Please sit up straight, gently calm your mind, and follow your breath. Service will begin with Sambujo and Hyobyakumon and the reading of the November Shotsuki Hoyo names. Today's sutra chant is JÖ-SEI-GE, Nembutsu, and Ekoku Merit Transference. Vandana Tisarana will be led by Reverend Cheryl Joko Ikemia. Our meditative reading is Ryogemon, led by Reverend Isabelle Shinjo Bernard. And Reverend Bernard will also deliver our Dharma talk. To end service, our Gathas NAMO, AMIDA, BUTSU, and Nembutsu will be sung with one voice. NAMO, AMIDA, BUTSU.
Please stand if you are able.
We respectfully welcome Amida Buddha to our Hondo Hall as we scatter flowers of joy. We respectfully welcome Shakyamuni Buddha to our Hondo Hall as we scatter flowers of joy. We respectfully welcome the Buddhas of all times and places to our Hondo Hall as we scatter flowers of joy. In the presence of Amida Tathagata, the embodiment of great wisdom and compassion, we, the members and friends of the New York Buddhist Church, have gathered to observe the Shotsuki Hoyo monthly memorial service for November 2022 in remembrance of our deceased loved ones. We honor the foundation of their lives and the wisdom and compassion that they have passed on to us. We are also observing the Eshinni-ko and Kakushinni-ko memorial service. These were the women to whom we are indebted for their support to Shinran Shonin as wife and daughter, and their role in establishing the base of Jodo Shinshu teaching during Shinran's lifetime and thereafter. We also are observing the memorial service for the members of the New York Buddhist Church Buddhist Women's Association. These were the women who have always been the backbone of our church. They who are no longer present were always there when support was needed, to be it in church activities, fundraising, and in maintaining the workings of the New York Buddhist Church. They have been and will continue to be the core of our Sangha. Thus, as we reflect on the ephemeral nature of life, which is like lightning and morning dew, we see that in the comings and goings of everyday life, we are essentially alone. Encountering the impermanence of earthly life, we are made to see both our self-delusion, but also the contrasting light and life of Amida Buddha, Amida's wisdom and compassion that sustains us. So now we bow our heads in gratitude to our family and friends who have passed on before us. These are the names of those family and friends who have passed in November. Gikyo Bando, Antonio Dymack, Frank Dymack, John L. Aidson, Yuriko L. Hama, George Yoshio Hara, Komayo K. Hara, Hiroko Harada, Roy Hayashi, Howard Nobuo Horii, Yasuhiro Iguchi, John R. Johnson, Reverend Shunshin Kan, Dorothy Kaneko, Setsuko Kinoshita, Teiji Kodama, John J. Kubo, Hideo Kusama, Stephen McDowell, Usaburo Mitani, Tomie Mochizuki, Mibu Nagawa, Ryohei Ryo Otaka, Shojiro Otaka, Edna Aki Okada, Emiko Okuma, Benjamin W. Shinseki, Mizue Sochi, Kuni S. Tamaki, Douglas Thompson, Shunli An Wong, Reverend Masanori Watanabe, George Yamamoto. We hereby remember these loved ones who passed away during the month of November. So let us affirm together the three homages. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu, the Buddha's most honored name, after me. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Chant is JÖ-SEI-GE on page 54.
Sai Do
Namo AMIDA BUTSU.
Namo
Namo
AMIDA
AMIDA
BUTSU.
BUTSU.
Namo AMIDA
Namo
BUTSU.
AMIDA BUTSU.
Namo
Namo
AMIDA
AMIDA
BUTSU.
BUTSU.
Namo AMIDA BUTSU. Namo AMIDA BUTSU. Namo AMIDA BUTSU.
Please stand for the Vandana and Tisarana, which is on page 7.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namu Kie Butsu. Namu Kie Butsu. Namu Kie Ho. Namu Kie Ho. Namu Kie So. Namu Kie So. Namu AMIDA BUTSU.
Namo AMIDA BUTSU. Namo AMIDA BUTSU. Namo AMIDA BUTSU. Namo AMIDA BUTSU. Namo AMIDA BUTSU.
Please be seated.
morning, everyone. Please join me in the reading of that's not in this book, it's in this book. Ryogemon, which is found on page 3 of your Red Service book in Japanese and 4 in English. We'll start with the Japanese, please. Ryogemon. Moro moro no zogyo zashu jiriki no kokoro o furusutete Ishinni AMIDA nyorai warera ga kondo no ichi daiji no gosho ontasuke sore to tanomi mo shute soro Tanomu ichinen no toki, ojo ichijo ontasuke chijo to zonji, kono ue no shomyo wa gonho shato zonji, yorokobi moshi soro. Kono on kotowari, Chomon moshiwaki soro koto gokai san shonin go shuse no goon shidai shoujo no zenji shiki no asakara zaru gokanke no goon to arigataku zonji soro Kono ue wa sarame okase la luru on okite ichigo wo kagiri mamori mo subeku soro. Jodo Shinshu Creed, page 4, number 1. Please recite with me. We rely upon Amida Tathagata with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our limited self. We believe that the assurance of birth comes at the very moment we entrust, and we call the name NAMO AMIDA BUTSU in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and the succeeding masters who have led us to believe in this profound teaching, and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Namo Dabts, Namo Dabts. It's good to see you all. Good morning. So, I've missed being here. I was out with COVID, so everyone please stay current on your vaccines and please continue to stay masked, okay? It is no fun being home alone for almost a month. That's why I'm so happy to be here. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Fauci and his team for giving us the vaccine. So it's a pleasure and an honor to join you all today for this BWA Eshinni-ko, Kakushinni-ko Memorial. For those of you who are new to our tradition, or just a refresher for everyone else, Eshinni was the wife of our founder Shinran, and Kakushinni was his daughter, one of the 6 children in Shinran and Eshinni's family. They, along with Shinran, were joined in their devotion to the Nembutsu teaching, and I believe are equally responsible for the survival of the Jodo Shinshu school to this very day. So it may surprise some people to hear that Nishi Honganji, our mother temple, was founded upon the death of Shinran in 1277, but it wasn't until 1921 for Eshinni's life to be verified as more than historical fiction. Yes, there were many people in Japan who did not believe in Shinran's marriage, who doubted the existence of Eshinni, his wife, and even questioned the very existence of Shinran himself. It was Eshinni's letters to Kakushinni, discovered in Honganji's archives by Professor Washio Kyodo, that turned these doubts into verifiable facts, which could be then validated by scholars and historians. Thanks to these 10 letters, which Eshinni wrote to her daughter in the last years of her life, we are now able to know the real history of Shinran's life and about the founding of Honganji. So while her letters are important for teaching us about the reality of Shinran's life, they are also important for what they reveal about the personal and spiritual lives of Eshinni and Kakushinni. We are able to see Eshinni not only as the wife of our revered founder, but as a real woman, contending with life in difficult times and circumstances, while also seeking her own spiritual enlightenment. Likewise, it is wonderful that we finally give official recognition to Kakushinni, not because she was Shinran's daughter, but because his spiritual guidance would not be available to us today were it not for her foresight and diligence in preserving these profound insights for the future. So Eshinni's letters reveal important insights into Shinran's personal life, as well as tell of his spiritual journey throughout his life. Eshinni wrote to Kakushinni about Shinran's life as an earnest young monk on Mount Hiei. He was trained as a Tendai Buddhist monk, as well as detailing his break from that school when he became a disciple of Honen, embracing the Nembutsu teaching. In the year 1207, the court banned the teaching of Nembutsu and ordered the exile of Honen and Shinran, and also beheaded two of Honen's other students. This was a very political hit job, shall I say. There were many in the court who spread a rumor that the ladies of the court were mingling with the monks. They were very intimidated by the Nembutsu teaching. It became very, very popular in a very short period of time. And the hierarchy on Mount Hiei was threatened by this because suddenly the teaching, the Buddhist teaching, which had been, considered, was practiced primarily by monks, was being made available to common people and people who were, before that, considered unclean, unable to receive the teachings, butchers, morticians, and even women. So, but Honen taught that Amida's compassion embraced all of us, and that this path of single practice Nembutsu, of saying the name, was given to us as an easy practice by Amida Buddha so that all people would find the teachings accessible. So although Shinran and Honen's life were spared, they were no longer allowed to be monks, and they were given new names as lay people. Shinran was now called Fuji Zenshin, and he was exiled to Echigo, which was a very bleak place in Niigata Prefecture. But there he met and married Eshinni. Since that time, Shinran referred to himself as neither a monk nor a layperson. How could that be? Today, married clergy is commonplace, but in the old days, especially in that time in Japan, you were either a celibate monk or a married householder. You could not be both. So Shinran was Japan's first married clergy because his commitment to sharing the content of his spiritual awakening was in no way diminished by his marriage or by the hardships endured during his exile. He shared the Nembutsu teaching with the illiterate peasants and the fishermen of Echigo, and of course, with his wife and family. In return, Eshinni supported Shinran financially as she owned an estate, and it said she even had a few servants. So she provided the circumstances by which Shinran could continue to propagate the teachings while raising a family. So Eshinni's letters revealed she was also a very devoted follower of the Nembutsu teaching. She respected Shinran deeply as her teacher, as well as her husband. And she believed him to be an embodiment of Kanon Bosatsu. And likewise, he believed her to be such an embodiment of the Bodhisattva of compassion as well. They had 6 children. Kakushinni was the youngest daughter. While Shinran propagated the Nembutsu teachings throughout the Kanto region, Eshinni raised their 6 children virtually alone. As time passed, Shinran grew increasingly concerned with preserving the teachings. Nembutsu followers were being ruthlessly persecuted, and at one point, Honin's grave was desecrated. This ultimately resulted in Shinran leaving Kanto, moving to Kyoto with Kakushinni, and devoting the last 60 years of his life writing his magnum opus, the Kyogyo Shinsho, which is a series of selections and commentaries from Buddhist scriptures which supported the foundation of the single practice Pure Land school through establishing a doctrinal lineage and a line of masters going back to Shakyamuni. But were it not for Eshinni and later Kakushinni's complete support and shared devotion, it would have been a much more difficult, if not impossible, endeavor to complete within his lifetime. When Shinran died in 1263, he was still virtually unknown among Buddhists in Kyoto, as most of his propagation efforts had been in the Kanto area. As we must thank Eshinni for her support of Shinran's life and work, we must also look to Kakushinni for creating a foundation for the teachings to endure to this day. Why do I say this? Well, without Kakushinni, there would be no Honganji, there would be no Monshu, no transmission of Shinran's teachings, and then we'd have no BCA, no Eastern District, no New York Buddhist Church, and no Dharma sharing here in New York. How fortunate we are. Kakushinni was her father's caretaker in his final years. She was about 30 years old when Shinran died at the very advanced old age of 90. She was a devout follower, and she wanted to keep Shinran's teachings alive and perpetuated for his followers. So she had a memorial hall called Otoni Mausoleum, or Otoni Byodo, built for his remains on land she had inherited from her second husband. She enshrined an image of Shinran in the Otani Mausoleum. She was aware of the devotion and veneration of the followers of Shinran, and so she recognized the need to create a spiritual and physical home for his remains so that his followers could visit his tomb. So after approximately 50 years, this mausoleum became an official temple under her grandson, the Monshu Kakunyo, and was named Honganji, or Temple of the Primal Vow, and it developed into one of the largest and most powerful Buddhist schools in Japan. So perhaps we might even consider Kakushinni the first caretaker of Nishi Honganji. So we can understand now, excuse me, that it is because of Eshinni and Kakushinni's vision, efforts, and devotion in supporting Shinran throughout his life that the Honganji has grown to what it is today. We might say that Eshinni and Kakushinni are the mothers of Jodo Shinshu. Without them, I don't think there would be a Honganji today. Kakushinni's devotion to her father and the desire to see the continuance of AMIDA's compassionate teaching was central to the creation of Jodo Shinshu as an institution. There was so much animosity towards this new movement that it really took, I say it with a few words, Kakushinni did this, but the powers that be used their influence at court and their influence over other temples to try to stomp out this movement, because Jodo Shinshu did not arise a fully established school. Shinran never considered himself the founder of a school. He wanted to preserve the teachings that he had received from Honen and share them with others. That was his goal. So it was also Kakushinni who established the rules, ensuring that the gravesite and this property it was built on would belong to those in the Jodo Shinshu Sangha for all generations in the future. So in 1277, she donated the gravesite to all the Jodo Shinshu followers so that no one family member could claim dominance over this new school. She established a system of caretakers, which were to be named from her descendants. It's interesting to note that the blood lineage that continues to the Monshu, or the abbot of Honganji today, can be traced back to her son by her first marriage, Kakue, and not through one of Shinran's sons, as we might have expected. Amida Buddha, that statue that we have here, symbolizes that which is formless, but it's regarded as both our father and our mother. True reality is beyond our dualistic thinking in our human minds. But Eshinni and Kakushinni were two people who showed that throughout their life's work, they entrusted themselves to Amida Buddha without any doubt. Thanks to them and to countless other Buddhist women, including our own Fujinkai BWA members, past and present, we are able to see that this teaching applies to everyone without exception. So Eshinni and Kakushinni joined together in bringing the Nembutsu Dharma to this present day. So when we consider their lives, their devotion, and their vision, we can see that the Nembutsu teaching was carried forward from the life and spiritual experience of Shinran himself to find a foothold here and now as Jodo Shinshu. So from the karmic conditions that created a foundation for Shinran and Eshinni's life together, their daughter drew her own inspiration for the future, dipping into the realm of the Dharma for nourishment and for support. So thanks to them, we too have encountered this teaching, which guides our lives with a deep sense of meaning and gives us strength, hope, and endurance when we suffer and face obstacles in our path. So today we get together to listen to the Buddha's teachings, which were transmitted from 2,500 years ago by many people, including Shinran, Eshinni, Kakushinni, and our own ancestors. We come together on Shotsuki Hoyo to acknowledge their great compassion and support. We formally recite the three treasures during service, but the world we live in also contains other treasures that we can look at for enlightenment. But we must first recognize and acknowledge these. Until then, we are blind to them. Or, as is more the case, we take them for granted. We're very fortunate to be here in our Hondo today, which embodies not only the Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings and Shinran Shonen's understanding of them, but all those who have gone before us, who contributed to the life of this temple, which we now share, so that today we can listen to the Buddha's teachings. We have access to these treasures through the lives of all of those who've gone before us and who carried us here. So now let us join our palms together in Gassho for all that we have been given from the past to today. Let us thank Eshinni and Kakushinni, as well as all those who we honor and remember here, the Shotsuki Hoyo, each of whom in their own way supported us through their friendship, their devotion to our Jodo Shinshu tradition, and to our own lives. Let us further rededicate ourselves to being the best that we can be, to deepening our understanding, and through it, expressing and sharing the true and real value of the Jodo Shinshu teachings given to us by Shinran Shonin in our own lives. Please say the Nembutsu with me so that we join in one voice. NAMO AMIDA BUTSU. NAMO AMIDA BUTSU. NAMO AMIDA BUTSU. Namo Dabbutsu. Namo Dabbutsu. Namo Dabbutsu. Thank you.
Please rise for the Gathas, Namo AMIDA BUTSU and Nembutsu. I think you were handed the sheet of Namo AMIDA BUTSU. And Nembutsu is on page 135 of the red book. Page 135. Please be seated. This concludes our service for today, and thank you all for coming. I'd like to acknowledge those who helped us with the service. Our greeter, Hiroki Hasegawa, pianist Nobuko Kodama, and our always faithful technician, David Brady. And of course, thank you, Isabelle, for reminding us of how important these women were for us, that we can receive the teaching. Oftentimes, women take the back seat, right? But I think we can acknowledge that actually they are so important for us here too at the New York Buddhist Church. So thank you women, especially the BWA, who keep us going, right? And I think they serve such a wonderful a role in keeping in touch with people, especially during COVID. They were on the phone. They helped with communication. They visited people who were sick or visited them by phone. And so, it's a role that's so important. You don't see everything when you just see the service, but there's so much more that goes on with our Sangha, that we are a caring community. I just wanted to announce things that are coming up. We're going to have Reverend Patty Nakai, who is from the Buddhist Temple of Chicago. She will be speaking to us via the internet. But this will be on November 20th. Right. And I think you'll enjoy her. She's just a wonderful, dynamic speaker, very strong opinions. And again, as we continue on with women who are important to us in the Jodo Shinshu tradition. Also upcoming is a special event that the Tachibana Dance School is hosting. It's going to be a kimono festival that will be here on Saturday, November 26th from 11:30 to 2 p.m. And it's in person, so you have to come here if you want to see the kimono. They're going to be selling vintage kimono and obi with accessories and other related items. There's an entrance donation of $5, and all purchases are cash and carry. So I guess you can't order it elsewhere otherwise. So you have to be here in person in order to take advantage of this opportunity. There'll be some really beautiful pieces that they will have for sale. And it's going to benefit both the New York Buddhist Church and the Tachibana Dance Group. So please come. Again, it's on November 26, 11:30 to 2 p.m. Let's see, is there anything else that's coming up? We're going to have, of course, many events that will be coming up in December. And then at the end of the year, too, as well, we're going to be doing a traditional New Year's Eve and New Year's Day services here. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you informed. We appreciate your dana, your donations, and as you know, we can't really maintain this church without your donations, and it takes a lot to keep the lights on. And so if you can donate to us, either here in person or online, you can donate by PayPal or send in checks. We have, if you go to our website, the NewYorkBuddhistChurch.org, you can also fill out membership forms. If you want to have someone remembered in the Shotsuki Hoyo, the monthly memorial service, you can also fill out forms for that too. So your family members will be remembered the month that they passed away. So thank you all for coming and for helping, those who helped us today, and for being here, both in person and online. We also appreciate your attending via the Facebook and YouTube. We have a fairly devoted Sangha through the online presence. So let us close with Gassho. In gratitude for this opportunity for us all to be together,